So today we have Tim and Hunter Markle from the Weizmann Center and also Beth Guthrie Moss from the Weizmann Center here to talk about healthcare. Take it away, guys.
All
You want
right.
us to introduce ourselves, maybe? Maybe that would be good, Sydney.
You want
Since we have
everyone to
some new
introduce
people.
themselves? Oh,
Yeah, we have some new people on our people first thing. So
yeah,
Sydney, you want to
sure,
go first? To get right
sure.
up at the top.
Yeah, I'm the outreach self-advocate for People First Wisconsin. Um, and Julie, I'll let you go next just because of your staff too.
Okay. I'm just trying to help Stacy Ellingen get
Um,
in. I'm Julie Blasky. I am People First staff member, outreach self-advocate from the Madison area.
And then, of course, Cindy is the executive director of People First of Wisconsin. And I am so happy that you're here to talk about healthcare. That's all the staff, right?
yeah,
Okay.
and then we have Denise, Chad, Brandon, and Chad.
I'll go next. My name is Denise Horn. I live in Janesville, Wisconsin. I'm part of People First, and I have an interest in healthcare in terms of making it more applicable to having people with disabilities needs being heard instead of the medical model the um where the healthcare only deals with the medical model, and they deal with the people, somewhat with individuals, but I'm wanting to increase that awareness that the individual's needs have much more priority than what they are given.
Um, Chad, do you want to go next?
Hi, my name is Chad. I'm from Madison. I'm a disability advocate and a proud member of People First.
And Brandon introduced himself in the chat. Brandon Simmons from Watertown. And then Chaz, I'll message him in the chat. And people might still trickle in, but if you guys want to get started.
Sounds good. Beth, did you want to get us started, or would you like me to just turn it over to Hunter and then the two of us could just sit back?
I will say who I am.
You're not throwing me under the bus in this conversation.
Absolutely not.
No.
Okay.
I'm not awake enough for that.
Okay. It's his day off from work, and so he's just like, I have to do what today?
Nice.
No, it's
Thank
more
you
of
for
the fact
coming
that
on
he
your
haven't
day
had it. Oh, no problem.
So I'll just introduce myself really quickly, and yes, I think Hunter can probably do a much better job than I can. So I'm Beth Guthrie Moss, and I coordinate the project, the Wisconsin Health Transition Initiative at the Weizmann Center. And I have a son who is 30, who is on the autism spectrum. And I've been working on healthcare transition now for nearly 4 years. Before that, I worked at the Wisconsin Board for People with Developmental Disabilities and doing a lot of things with employment. And now I am learning a lot and hoping to help people have a better transition from pediatrics, that up until people are like 18, 21, maybe 26, the pediatrician and their pediatric specialists to the adult doctors and providers. And one thing that I know we would really like to do today is to hear from you kind of what would have made your transition better, because that's really what we are trying to do, is share how to make things better for people. So it helps us to know, what would have made it better for you. But first, I'm going to ask Tim and Hunter to introduce themselves.
Fantastic. Thanks, Beth. And so, yes, please be thinking about that time when you maybe weren't quite the adult that you are now. And maybe you had to change doctors, or you had to change hospitals, or all of a sudden you had to make more medical decisions. What could have helped you to do that better? Because you probably have learned a few things over the way. My name's Tim. I am father to a 25-year-old kiddo on the spectrum. This is my kid, Hunter. He has a sister
Yes,
who
but
I rarely talk about.
Yeah.
Talk a lot about Hunter.
yes.
But his sister is going to school at UW Oshkosh in a graduate program. And we do conversations with people and presentations on healthcare transition. So we're used to talking to family members and educators of people that are around
And
14
potentially
to
medical
21 and medical
professionals
teens.
and
and teens.
teenagers. Yeah, Patch. We can't.
Yep.
Can't. We have to throw Patch out there.
So about 14 to 26. And so this y'all are new to us. Y'all are looking old. So this is kind of cool. I like that. I like the fact that we're talking to some older people, because part of healthcare transition is, it's not just preparing to be an adult. It's not just transferring over to the adult side, but it's then using that healthcare and staying healthy and keeping ourselves healthy and all those things that are involved in that, because our health matters to us the most. Is you will be in your body, you will be you longer than anybody else will be you. You are it. You are the one in charge of that body, and you are the one that has to take care of it. No one else can. It's yours. And so we really like to try to encourage people, how can they take charge of their health, whether that's mental health or physical health, and how can they work with the systems to do it? So do you want to introduce yourself, or can I just start off with a question for you?
You can start off with a question after my quick little introduction. I'm Hunter. I'm this guy's son. I'm 25, and I was diagnosed with autism at 20. Yeah.
So that's
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
another whole story.
Yeah, that's a whole nother story for a whole different group.
But it does have to do with the first question.
It does.
That I have
it does.
for you.
I think.
I
So
just is in a minute, you could talk about autism because I have autism. And so, and I'm an adult with autism. And if everybody else can speak for themselves, but I'm an adult with intellectual disability with autism.
thank you, Cindy.
Diagnosed
Thank you,
about,
Cindy.
and I was diagnosed about 10 years ago when I had to do some, they had to do, make sure what my real disability was from living in a state institution when I was little. So
Mhm.
there you go. I just wanted to let you know we wouldn't be offended by it.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's good to
No.
be in a safe space. I
Yeah.
appreciate
You're
that.
welcome.
So I know one of the things that we had to work on when Hunter was growing up was how to even get an appointment, how to even see the doctor, because for years he had nothing to do with the process. I would make the appointments.
It was
his
either
mom
him
would
or
make the
mom.
appointments. Yeah, we'd make all the
I
appointments.
think grandparents made one appointment.
It's possible. And so at some time we're like, duh, he should figure out how to do this. And
It might have taken a lot longer than it should have.
so do you remember the process?
The first process was you guys doing the appointments. Second process was
And we did the appointments with
Yep.
you next to us.
Yep.
So we
Yep, I was in the same room.
Yep.
Next one was me dialing the actual number and then walking out of the room.
literally.
I literally would go to another room and just sit and wait and let these guys do everything.
True.
Third one, I actually answered the basic questions and then walked out of the room.
Do you remember what the basic questions are that everybody seems to want to know when you call a doctor?
Name, birthday,
It's okay.
place of residence, and what health insurance. Oh, and zip code, because this was the early 2000s.
Yeah. And so then, so you would do that basic, and then like you said, you would also just leave the room.
Yep.
And then do you remember what happened next?
We found my chart. And I have never stopped using my chart, and I will carry the banner of my chart until my grave.
So Hunter was very excited when he didn't have to call on the phone anymore and talk to a human being. Found it a lot easier to do appointments online. So
Very much
you
so.
became a
I-
lover of my chart.
I became a lover of my chart, and everything about it is just perfect for someone like me. I like interacting with people. I love interacting with people, but I just can't do phone calls. I'm just not someone who does phone calls.
Now, one of the things that we also figured out was that I really wanted Hunter to be able to talk to the doctor himself, because again, growing up, the doctor always asked me how Hunter was doing. And when he got to be a teenager, all of a sudden I'm like, why the heck am I answering this question? He knows how he's doing. He has thoughts, he has feelings, he has a body. Why am I telling the doctor how good he is or what's going on with him? He should tell the doctor. So I had a conversation with his doctor, and the doctor said, why would we want to do that?
I'm not trained in that.
I'm like,
Well, he might have been.
this is not starting out well. And so I asked Hunter, do you want to spend a little bit of time alone with the doctor to talk to him?
I answered the question the same way as the doc and just said why.
So we decided that let's maybe look at another doctor. So I loved my doctor. So I introduced you to my doctor. That's how you found your adult provider.
And ever since then, I have been going to said adult provider.
And not only is he going to him, but now he's starting to surprise us a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
You want to tell, or do you want me to tell the story?
So basically, I was talking to my doctor about my weight and how to gain it healthily without my parents knowing at all. So he referred me to a dietitian and nutritionist specialist. I have said paperwork downstairs and basically got an appointment scheduled with them and everything. Best way I can describe these guys discovering me is sneaking out the back door.
Yeah, so we're just sitting around having our normal day, and Hunter like puts on his coat. He's ready to leave. We're like, where?
Yep, car keys, wallet, phone, already had the address plugged in.
Where are you going? And he's like, I'm going to go see my dietitian.
They were like, you don't have one.
We had never set him up with a dietitian. We didn't even know he knew what a dietitian was.
Yep, nope. First time ever making my own personal appointment with the help of the doctor and everything.
So basically he was off and running. And so from the, what I like to look at is from the, I'm not even going to pick up the phone and talk to anybody. I'm not making any appointments, to, I could do this.
Yep.
I could talk to the doctor and I could talk to him about my health needs and what I want to do. And I can make my own appointments. Do you see all the love that my chart is getting
my
in
chart,
the chat?
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. And somewhere in the middle of that road of dietitian appointment makings, I checked myself into St. Mary's for suicidal thoughts and depression.
So health is more than just physical health for you.
No, it is also mental health. I broke down at one of my previous places of employment and just outright told everyone that I wanted to kill myself. I wanted to take a kitchen knife, any form of a sharp object underneath when
you don't be so descriptive.
Sorry, and just end it all.
So what helped you get through that? Because mental health, again, we got to watch out for our mental health as well as our physical health. So not only are you trying to keep your body healthy, you're trying to keep your mind healthy.
Yeah.
What does that look like?
A lot of work and talking about it.
Yeah. And that's not always easy.
No, definitely not. Especially when the people you want to talk to are most of the time away at work themselves and everything. And positive self-talk was a key point that they taught me at St. Mary's.
So what is positive self-talk? What does that mean? How's that part of your health?
It's basically, I can do this. I can live my life with what I have as my disabilities. I am a human being. I can have emotions. I can feel. I am here.
And those are the words that you tell yourself,
Mhm.
because sometimes the words we tell ourselves aren't that nice.
No, sometimes they're not, and that's negative self-talk.
And so you learn that when you hear that negative self-talk going on in your head, you replace it with the positive self-talk.
Yep, that I can be who I am because of the steps my parents helped me with, that my doctor has set me up with, that I am my own advocate for my health.
And that's been, so mental health has been a really important part of our journey as a family.
Yep.
And so we just wanted to make sure that, you know, people were aware that we very much believe that mental health is as important as physical health. And you've seen a counselor before.
I went to a counselor for about 2 months, 3 months after my inpatient stay. I was on antidepressants for about 3.5 months before I forgot to refill the bottle.
Happens.
And since then, I haven't taken any antidepressants because, fun fact, some antidepressants can cause depression.
True.
Why? Why are some medications like that?
So far, we've talked about making your own appointments, being in charge of your healthcare, and being in charge of your mental health. We've also seen a lot of love for my chart and how much that it's easier for some people to be able to talk to their doctor and let their doctor know what's going on through messaging in my chart. Sometimes you can make an appointment, sometimes you can't. It depends on the doctor in my chart.
It also depends on if you want your parents or your current guardians to have release of information.
Right. So we could talk about release of information too, which is all about Hunter deciding who knows about his health and who can help him with his health care. But I do know that there have been some messages in chat. It looks like Ramsey has their hand up, and I don't know how y'all do this, Sydney, whether it's questions free-flowing through it, a discussion. I love discussions. And then we had the question that Beth asked earlier too. What could help you?
Yeah, I mean, if you guys want to take questions during this, that's totally cool. But if you want to wait till the end, that's too cool too.
So Hunter will never end, Sydney.
I sometimes become a runaway train if you give me an open mic. I think one of the Children Come First conferences, the first one I ever did, is a very much prime example of that.
Yep. So we've learned since then, well, that we both sort of need, I mean, because you can tell,
we have not
too far away from me, we need boundaries.
We do need boundaries.
So yeah,
still have not learned.
Let's see if anybody has questions. So however you do that, Sydney.
Yeah, go ahead, Ramsey.
First of all, I'm so proud of you, Hannah, for making your own appointments and taking charge of your healthcare and your lifestyle. You know, some of us that our own guardians are trying to take better care of ourselves too. What advice would you give to people like me that wanna take charge but don't know how to? I mean, I can do anything and everything for others, but when it comes to myself, I have a little more difficulty because I want to make sure everybody else is taken care of. But what advice would you have for someone like me that wants to take charge but is dependent on his parents for transportation?
My best advice is basically keep remembering that no matter what you are breathing, you are alive. Yes, you might have these negative thoughts. Yes, you want to make sure everything is right. But every day is a new day. Every day can be your best day.
I love that advice. And I'm gonna mute myself because my parents are here, but I'm gonna mute myself. Good presentation.
The other thing before we move
Oh,
on.
yeah, I was trying to get to call you before you got here. Yeah, is there any way you could run to McDonald's for me?
So we're gonna, so the only other thing that I wanted to add to that great advice by Hunter was the fact that we make sure that though Hunter's an adult,
For me.
that he understands he doesn't have to do this alone.
Exactly. You are never alone. Reach out to friends, reach out to family members, reach out to your doctor, talk to a nurse, talk to your supervisor if you have a job and
You
everything.
did that.
That's what I did. That's one of the reasons why I got the help I did, was that I didn't keep it bottled up. As I previously stated, I broke down at work. A CNA and a resident found me. They brought me to my supervisor, tried to get in contact with my mom. Turned out her cell phone was dead. So we then called my grandma. They came to pick me up. And then my mom came home from work and everything, found me up at my grandparents'. And then we went to a local hospital. A nurse or doctor, I never really asked, set up my inpatient stay and everything, and I got the help I needed. I spent a little over like 2.5 weeks there. Best choice I ever made for my health.
Glad it worked out. I wasn't that big of a fan, but he made it very clear that this was what he needed.
Yeah, you kind
And
of grew
I
up in the
wanted
generation of people where it was shut down and figure it out yourself.
Figure it out yourself. So I was really proud that you stuck to what you needed to do for yourself. Is you didn't let me talk you out of
I
doing
also
the
kind
best
of
thing.
baited you by saying your generation.
I know, and I appreciate that.
so sorry.
So let's see if there's any other questions.
Yes, that's.
Looks like Julie's raising her hand.
Yeah, I have to remember to unmute when I raise my hand. I just wanted to say thank you for coming, and I also wanted to kind of highlight the conversation we were having in the chat about my chart, and that some places in Madison at least have started charging for certain my chart messages, which I am concerned about as an advocate, because some people that might be their only mode of independent, communication with their providers. So I was just wondering if any of the healthcare advocates on here have seen that and know how that's going to work.
This is the first time I've ever heard of places charging for use of my chart. Granted, my primary reach out is through Dean Healthcare and everything.
Yeah, I think it's Unity that's doing it in Madison, Unity Point.
Yeah,
It'd be interesting to see if anybody else has heard about that.
Mm-hmm.
I have. They are, correct me if I'm wrong, Julie, but I think they are wanting to charge your insurance providers for chat conversations as if it's an actual appointment. That's not an appointment, like that you don't physically come and see your doctor just to communicate with your doctors. Is that what you're talking about? Because I did get
Yeah, and I really think that could be a huge healthcare barrier for several folks in our community. So just, I know you guys do a lot of great work at the Weissman Center, but I just wanted to put that on your radar.
That's important. I had
That
not
is-
heard of that before, Julian Chad. So thank you so much. I will get that under the radar and see if we can, because
Yeah.
at least it should be clear to people that are communicating with their doctor, whether they're having a conversation or whether they're having an appointment. is those are two different things. So if that could be clarified, that could also be good. Because yes, we need less barriers to healthcare, not more
barriers. We have enough barriers as it is. We need to start tearing down some of the older barriers. We don't need to build new ones.
So what do you see as some barriers to getting healthcare?
Primarily the guardianships and everything.
So people that have guardians.
Yeah,
which sometimes that's necessary.
That's very necessary.
But other times it takes control away and the decision making.
100%.
So do you like being able to make your own decisions?
I love making my own decisions. It's one of the reasons why I love being an advocate.
Do you make all your decisions all by yourself?
No.
Do you go into this little closet all alone and you say, okay, I have a decision to make and I am not going to talk to anybody about it. I'm just going to do it all myself.
No, because I'm not part of your generation that did that.
Oh yeah, that was bad. That was unhealthy.
That was very unhealthy.
That was not a good way to do it. So how do you make decisions?
I think things through, do pros and cons, and then ask your mom if this is the right idea.
Yeah, because sometimes using other people's brains is a good idea. I use other people's brains. I don't rely on just my brain. I talk to other people and use their brains when I make decisions too. And that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
Any other questions or conversation?
I was just gonna touch back on that thing we were talking about with charging for messaging, and one area for me where it gets in the way is I have GI problems and I'm currently going through some issues right now, and actually getting into a GI doctor anywhere in the state is a huge barrier. And if they start charging me just to have those important conversations with my doctor, that it's not only critical for ease of use for people, it's also important for your health.
Yes.
That these conversations be had without the barriers of, oh, if I talk to you, I have to charge your insurance. And then you might have issues with insurance because they might see it as you didn't actually go to the doctor, and I just don't think that's the best decision to make, in my opinion. I feel like it puts a lot of barriers for folks, especially people like us that maybe that's our only voice. Maybe we can't talk on the phone very clearly, or maybe we have speech issues or what have you. It's a critical part of what has become part of our healthcare. So
yeah, I went through speech therapy all the way up until graduating high school and everything. It's actually surprisingly a miracle that I can formulate proper words and understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, there was a while where it was really tough to understand you.
Yes.
Looks like Julie.
And then after Julie, Cindy would like to talk after Julie.
Cindy,
I don't know how to use my
I
hand.
went once, so I can certainly let Cindy go, and then I will go after Cindy.
Okay, so Julie knows, not all the staff knows my medical I don't tell everybody. Stacy probably will know now, which is fine. I just try to keep this confidential, but I have a condition which takes a lot of doctors. I have a condition, it's called leukemia, diagnosed about 3 years ago, maybe 4 now. And Sydney knows and Julie knows, I have to see lots of doctors. And now I have to see the Children's Hospital doctor, and I also have to see the Freighter doctors, including my primary doctor. So my aunt usually goes to most of the Freighters and Children's Hospital appointments, which is good. Lots of stuff going on with that. I'm not dying or anything. I have a form of what they say children's leukemia along with the adult leukemia. I don't know what it's about. I just, my aunt does I let my aunt do the talking a lot because I can't understand that because they talk in, of course, Chinese language. But what's so good about the rest of my life with my medical, I'm able to set up my appointments with my regular primary doctor over at Extension St. Mary's. And very nice. I can set up all that. Just set up a dentist appointment this morning. I'm very independent. But my thing is, during the COVID-19, they wanted you to use that, talk over on the internet. Well, guess what? Guess what? Or the Zoom. And my doctor had a lot of trouble. I tried to do it on the phone, an appointment with her, missed the appointment on the phone because of whatever. What suggestion do you have for, there a lot of doctors are going to this, either the Zoom link or whatever they call that, I forgot. Is it telehealth or something it's called? Okay, thank you. And I finally got that right. Thank you. I'm glad I don't have to deal that with the doctors from Frater or Children. But I feel overwhelmed because I'm not in charge. I don't feel I'm in too much in charge over with Frater and Children's because it's so competent language. It's not people first language. So so I'm glad my aunt is wonderful. Thank God for my aunts. My sister goes periodically. Like yesterday, I was at Children's Hospital and prayed all day after I had one meeting, I think, yesterday, or yeah. I can't even keep track of what was going on. Anyway, contains a lot of needles and my veins don't work. And, it's very traumatizing. I think people that have my condition, and I have a seizure disorder and I have autism. So 3 different things. Seizures in itself, I see a neurologist, all that kind of.
There you go.
And I've always had a medical kind of diagnosed with everything, since I was at the institution, they messed up a lot of my medications with the seizures and all kinds of stuff. So, but I think it's important that I talk about people that feel me, oh, Cindy is not going to anything. The reason I keep it personal is because I don't want people to feel sorry for me. I realize I have this condition and I'm going to have to work with it. I got nothing but good people in my life that helped me through this. But Sydney and Julie knows I'm very personal. I have to tell my staff because I think they need to know when I'm not on the phone or something, what's going on. I think it's very important. And then I always wanted to tell Stacy, but Stacy was always, when we have other people, me and Stacy on these big, huge, with a whole bunch of different people. But I'm gonna make it through that. I hopefully I'm through leukemia. I made it through everything else, and the institution don't take this personally. But I thought I was in San Quentin at the institution because I just felt like I was in a jail. I went there when I was little, and those doctors, they don't treat you. They don't treat you like you're supposed to be. You know what I mean? But because I have to take a lot of medicine now, I like that the pill box. So I have different pill boxes for different things, and my aunt monitors the pill box because I take a lot of different medicine. We can't get it all mixed up with the medicine I have to take for the leukemia, and I can't get the seizure medicine because one time I actually kind of overdosed on it accidentally. I didn't. So now we have pill bottles. We have pink, red, yellow, and green.
And Cindy, I think what you're bringing up is so important that when we talk about taking charge of our healthcare, sometimes there are things that are out of our control and
Amen.
that we can't take charge of. But
No.
Yep.
what if taking charge means that we get to choose people who will help us,
Yep.
people who will support us?
Mhm.
That my taking charge of my healthcare says, you know what? The doctors are having trouble understanding me because of maybe my speech or
Yeah.
because of a seizure. So I'm going to bring somebody with me who
Mhm.
understands me better, and they're going to be able to talk to the doctor
Mm-hmm.
because they understand me, and then they can tell the doctor what I'm saying. So
Yep.
bring the supporter, I get to choose that supporter, or the other way
Right.
around. Is
And I
something
guess I can
doctors
say
use
one
words that
other
are really
thing.
big.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's one of the reasons why I love my current doctor is that they dumb down
Mhm.
everything.
Yep. So taking charge could be bringing someone to that appointment to say, you know what, I'm only catching a little bit about what the doctor's saying. Could you come with me to listen?
My aunt takes a lot of notes. I mean, she's got from the 4 years I've been doing this, she's got 5 or 6 notebooks she takes the notes on. And the second thing is, one thing I will say I'm happy about. So when I go to my medical doctor, I can do that on my own, unless there's complications with the wording and something serious. So, I also take somebody with me when I go to the heart doctor because I have a heart murmur on top of that. And I had to get a couple of tests about a month ago. So, but I'm happy to tell you that at least I'm independent in one part of my health care and not independent in the other half because it's too complicated. But I think because Freighter is a teaching hospital, that's the reason why it's more teaching and they're learning. And so that's all I had to say. And I want to thank, what is your name, Chaz? What's your name, Tim?
Mm-hmm.
Thank
Tim
you
and
for, and I don't like to put anything out
Cindy, would
about
you mind if I
personal.
ask my question real quick?
Yeah, you
That
can.
relates to
Yeah, no, that's
what they
good.
were.
Yeah, that's fine.
So Hunter, that was gonna be my question. If you have supported decision making or
Oh, yeah.
anything like that, because like people, we were talking about how this group is a little bit older. So when this group became adults, supported decision making wasn't an option. So some people have guardians that maybe don't think they need them anymore, and some people didn't get guardianship because their family didn't think it was like the right setup for them, but the supported decision making might be the right setup for them. So I was just curious if Hunter had supported decision making to like help with those decisions, but still have, ultimately he makes those choices.
Oh, that's a good one, Julie. I am my own guardian, thank heavens, but and
Yeah.
what is it called? I have the power of attorney for health, which is a very good thing
That is
because,
an amazingly good thing.
yeah, have you heard of the power of
I've had,
health?
yep,
Okay.
I've heard of different powers of attorney and everything.
Yeah.
Thank goodness I do not need any of that yet. That is one of the things I'm proud of, is that I am my own advocate. I make my own decisions. I do my own health and everything.
And
I
the only reason
still-
I have power of attorney because of them.
Yep,
Mhm.
I
Oh, yeah,
still
it's necessary
sometimes,
sometimes.
yes, it very much is. I still reach out to my parents because they understand life more than me because they are more experienced in living it.
I think he just called me
Right.
old.
In
Very
the
much
nicest way
so.
possible.
Oh, you don't know
Very
what
much
old is. If
so.
I told you my age, I've lived a lot longer than you. The old is old, I guess, but I don't look my age either, so I'm not even gonna tell my age. But
That's right.
yeah, I've just
That's a
lived,
very smart move.
but you know what I mean. But don't call yourself old, even when you are getting older.
There you go.
You know.
And so we do have what Hunter has done is he did sign a release of information
Yep.
that gives us the right to talk to his doctors about his medical situation. It helps us to make appointments if he would like us to make his appointment, because without even that release of information, the doctor's office shouldn't even talk to me.
Yeah,
They should
we-
only talk to him. So with the release
we
of information,
discovered that through a MRI scan because one day I developed double vision
true.
in one eye. I don't understand how, but life is weird and so is the human body, apparently.
So we needed, if I wanted to see his brain, which to tell you the truth,
He didn't believe I had one.
I was pretty much not thinking he had one. So I was really excited when the scan showed he had a brain.
That is after we convinced one of the nurses to get us a release of
Well,
information.
they offered the release
Well,
of information.
technician?
Mhm.
Was it a technician or a nurse that offered it?
It doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't matter. One of the two.
Mhm.
And it was then discovered the reason why. Body issues, human issues.
Yep.
And it was like, yeah, it's not due to any sort of tumor in the brain. It's not due to any swelling in the brain. It was just a muscle problem.
Yeah, just the muscles decided they didn't want to work anymore.
Yep.
Which happens.
Yep. It doesn't help that I discovered this driving 55 up 51.
That's
Not
true.
the smartest move I've ever made.
So do you want to talk at all about your do you know how to refill? You haven't had to have
The
a
only
medication
major
for a while.
medication was that antidepressant, and I just never refilled it. I do know how to refill them. I just never did.
So let's say you might want to go back on. Hypothetically, you decided that you were getting a little down again and you
Mhm.
wanted to restart your antidepressant to see
Yep.
if maybe it can help you pick you back up, because sometimes our bodies do weird things, like you said, and sometimes pills can help us. We have
Yep.
to know what they're supposed to do. We have to know, like you were talking about, side effects.
Oh,
You got to
yeah.
know the side effects, what else it could do to your body, so you
Mhm.
can avoid those. Or at least be aware that's what's going on. But what would you do if you wanted to go back on starting antidepressants? It's
I
not
would-
like you go buy them, over the counter.
No, these are not over the
Yeah.
counter.
You got any watches and any antidepressants? No, you
No,
can't do that.
No, Stranger Tony, I don't have
No,
any of those.
No.
But what I do have is a good doctor who would sign off on getting me a prescription of those.
Okay, so you see the doctor makes a prescription.
Yes.
Then
I
what
then
happens?
take said prescription to the local pharmacy here in our town, which
Well,
will
sometimes they just electronically send it.
Yep. Yep.
So then the prescription
Prescriptions
is at the
and
pharmacy.
I go to the local pharmacy and say, hey, I'm Hunter. I'm here to pick up such and such antidepressant from such and such prescription from such and such doctor. Here's my ID to verify it. Here's when the appointment was made to get said prescription. If you need anything else, just
Maybe
ask.
an insurance card.
Maybe an insurance card. I'll give you that as well. $20. Here you go.
Yes, and then you pay usually a copay, something that you pay before you receive the medicine, and then the rest of the bill goes to the insurance company. But there's sometimes a little bit you have to pay up front, so you had to
Yep.
learn that too.
I had to learn that too.
So then what happens if
Oh,
those
gosh.
bills run out?
Check in with the prescription and see if
Okay.
the bottle itself has number of refills available.
So
well as another thing.
right on the prescription, it'll tell you if you have refills left.
Yep. And if there is none, reach out to your doctor about refilling it. That's one of the other reasons why I love my chart, is that you can basically check to see what prescriptions you're on and go, okay, I'm at the end of this one. I should send a message off to my doctor and basically say, hey, can you refill this prescription amount for me and everything? And they will do it.
Yeah, so you keep track of that right on my chart.
Yep. You can also keep track of how much money you have billed stacked up before a collection agency comes knocking.
Yes, so
Please pay your bills. For the love of everything, pay your medical bills.
true story.
Don't let a collection agency come after you. They are scarier than the IRS.
So this is one of those areas where we let Hunter make his own decisions.
I chose poorly.
And he didn't exactly make the right decision, because he didn't pay the bill and he didn't tell us he had the bill until all of a sudden the conversation was, Dad, what's a collection agency? And so then we had to figure out, explain to him what a collection agency was and figure out what bill had not gotten paid and help him work through that.
Yep.
But you know what?
Another
Everybody makes mistakes.
yes, on the
It's part of
concept of
life.
making mistakes, also stay in network.
Oh, in network, out of network doctors.
Make sure your doctor you are visiting is in network so you don't have to pay like
What
$500.
does the network mean?
It means that they are covered by your insurance.
So each insurance usually has a list of doctors that they consider their doctors. They consider them to be in network. And so they pay them a certain amount of money for when you see them.
Yeah, my sister did not learn this.
She went to an out of network doctor. So someone that was not part of our insurance plan. We got a very, very large bill.
She got a very large bill.
She did, and we paid it
And-
for her because
yeah.
that's what we do.
That's my parents for you.
Yeah. But we learned.
But
that
we
taught
all
you
learned.
too about it.
We all learned.
And do you know how to find out if your doctor's in network or out of network? What would you do?
Call the insurance company.
So there is usually on the back of your insurance card, which even though we're in the age of electronics, we have an insurance card that
We
hangs
do.
on the back of the refrigerator because I like to
Yep.
have that physical card
I have mine in my wallet.
because there's usually 800 number on the back. And that's when I call, like we'd call for his sister and say, okay, who's the closest doctor? Who can she see that is in network? Sometimes you can go online and find that out from your insurance website.
Yep.
But I'm an old, I'm not old. I won't call myself old, Cindy,
Well experienced.
but I am well experienced. And I like calling like the nurse on call. I like
those people are
calling
very helpful.
the number on the back so that I can talk to someone and explain, this is what I'm going to go do. This is what I want. Is this covered? And so I like having that conversation with them.
Yep.
Hey, can I mention something?
Go right ahead.
Also, when it comes to prescription refills, depending on your pharmacy, sometimes they actually will reach out to the doctor for you.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
That's another
Interesting.
tip too,
that's
for
interesting.
anyone that needs to know.
Yeah, that's a good pharmacist.
That's an amazing pharmacist or pharmacy.
And I was going to say too that if talking on the phone is not something that you feel all that comfortable doing, that a lot of insurance companies, if you go online, you can find out who the doctors are in the network. They'll have a list. So that's another way of figuring that out.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. It's really fun when his sister was up at Oshkosh. I would go online and I would try to find the doctor closest to Oshkosh to say, honey, if you don't feel well, I know it's a 45-minute drive, but dang it all, go see this doctor. Don't just go to any doctor in the city. That's going to cost too much money. So we had to use those maps to figure out where could she go.
Mel, you
to
are
see
not
the
allowed
doctor.
to go to the medical student study hall.
No. Other questions, comments? So we asked a question earlier about when you were younger, what do you wish you had known about healthcare and how to take care of your own healthcare before you became an adult? And I'm just wondering, have any of you thought about that and any answers to that question about what do you wish you would have known about healthcare? It looks like Denise has her hand up.
Yes, I wish I would have known what I didn't know, okay? Because I'm 63 and my parents took care of everything, and so I was like clueless, okay?
Mm.
And in those, and so I wish I knew what I didn't know back then.
Thank you, Denise.
Mm-hmm.
The amount of lost paperwork and like follow through, because like I don't know, when I was completely on my own, it wasn't so bad. I learned how to make some phone calls and stuff, but like sometimes the follow-up phone calls to like find lost paperwork or sometimes with complex like medical issues, trying to explain to like the person that routes the phone call like what you need, and they don't understand because they don't deal with it every day. I don't know, those were kind of the barriers, because like having a lot of specialists or whatever, People sometimes are like, well, what do you need? Or like with disability, you have a lot of like silly paperwork. I had to do one for like the DMV for my parking tags, right? So now I need a whole appointment just for parking tags. And it's like, they're frustrated because they have a lot of other people, and I'm like, I just need my parking tag. So I don't know. I feel like half of my medical journey is like just paperwork or like lost paperwork or trying to get one piece of paperwork to another provider, like provider communication, like helping them to communicate for my benefit amongst themselves, like how to encourage them to do that. I don't know how to word that, but like sometimes I communicate really great in the appointment with the individual person, but then it's like, how do I get my PT to talk to my primary doctor to talk to, so on and so forth.
That's a
Yeah,
good,
that's
that's challenging.
Very
You-
challenging.
That
and-
whole paperwork and communicating, big challenges in the medical field, big challenges in healthcare.
Yep, this is one of the reasons why I hate bureaucrats.
There you go. Chad?
I kind of have a two-part answer to that question. My biggest challenge when I first started on my own, because I had to figure out a lot of things on my own because my family did not really guide me on a lot of things. Go independent. But my biggest my biggest hurdle was I didn't realize because it was being taken care of being taken care of for me for so long that you need to find doctors and things in network, and then like Hunter over there, you end up with those nasty bills that say you owe money, and then you're having to figure out how to manage that. You can figure it out, but it's a lot of communicating with people, getting advice, getting help. And the other thing I will say, it's not so much of a challenge for me anymore because I worked and I'm on Medicare now. But Medicaid only patients have a really difficult time finding dental care. Like the current dentist I go to, it is Midwest Dental. They don't even know that I have forward health because even though I know my Medicare is going to cover everything, if you say I also have forward health, they will send you out the door because they don't want to work with forward health. And I know a lot of folks. I have a friend that had problems and needed some teeth work done, and he had to go all the way down to Milwaukee, I believe, to get the dental care he needed. That is a problem that teeth are very important and healthy teeth are very important. And the dentists give us a hard time because maybe we're not going to the dentist like we should, but sometimes it's because we don't the insurance doesn't allow us to do that. And so we hold it off because we can't get into just any dentist.
Yeah, and that's, we have a comment in the chat that, some people have to go under when they go to see the dentist because of the lights, because of issues with their mouth, because of the way their jaw works. There's a lot of different reasons. And that's not always at your corner dentist office.
No,
You have to find
you
a
have-
special dentist
Yep.
who practices anesthesia, who
Right.
practices putting people under. And that's a whole nother level.
That almost turns into
That's
more
not
of a
a
surgery.
boat enough. Need of help.
I have a friend who needs to be put under because of his spasticity. His spasticity is so bad he can't handle it. And so he's not getting in every 6 months or maybe even every year. He's got to sometimes wait years to get a bed for it. So that is a thing that if I can advocate to get addressed, I will do so.
I just put in the chat, I was thinking, based on what Chad said, it was hard to learn like the different Medicaid HMOs versus straight Medicaid versus straight Medicare or Medicaid Advantage. So people often know, or they can learn which ones they have. But then if you have like a Medicare, because it sounds like Chad, you have Medicare Advantage. So my Medicare doesn't pay for any dental. And I'm technically on the same insurance. So you refer to it as Medicare, and you're not wrong, but you must have a Medicare Advantage where
Yeah.
I have just typical Medicare.
Gotcha.
So
Yeah.
I had to learn that the hard way too, because you're like calling around looking for a place and it says, you know, like Medicaid, and then they're like, oh, we only take like the Unity Health or the Ports, you know, Medicaid or whatever. So anyway.
Sorry, I wasn't clear on that too.
Oh, I was actually kind of informing the group. That's something that I had a hard time with.
Yeah,
Straight
really
up
hard.
Medicare does not cover as much as like a Medicare Advantage plan.
Yeah. So that's being able to either my chart or call or email before you go to a doctor or a dentist to find out what is it that's covered. What will the insurance pay for? And that's for everybody with insurance. That's we have, like Hunch was saying, we have SSM, Dean Health, and there's still times where I call, I'm like, my wife wants to see like a chiropractor. Is that even covered? Is that a thing?
Yeah.
And so it is not easy. And so utilizing the 800 numbers, the emails, having somebody else read or be part of that conversation to make sure you're understanding what the other person is saying could also be really helpful, because sometimes people talk too fast and sometimes they use words that are way too big and they don't understand that not everybody listens or talks the way they do. And so we need to be patient with those people and get some supporters to help them communicate with us.
I feel like some of that was what I personally am a problem of.
Sometimes you talk fast, but sometimes I talk too fast too.
Yes, but at least when you talk fast, people could still understand you.
Well, and that goes back to that. And again, going back to something what Julie was saying is communication. When we talk about communicating with a doctor, with a medical, is it's got to be both ways. Communicating isn't just me helping the doctor understand what's going on. It's also me understanding what the doctor would like me to do. So we have not communicated. If the doctor doesn't get what I'm saying, and we haven't communicated if I don't understand what the doctor's saying. And sometimes the appointments go so fast that you're like, I don't really understand what just happened. And so it's like, okay to call a timeout, because you have to understand what the doctor would like you to do to take care of your health. And if you don't feel they've understood what you're trying to tell them, then again, needs a timeout, needs to slow down, because communication means they understand what you need and you understand what they are telling you to do. Is the whole thing has to happen for it to work.
Yep.
This is Cindy. The other thing, when you say about the emergency rooms, they need a lot of help, a lot of work on communication. Julie knows this is, and she knows the story. I think I told her. I usually talk to Julie a lot about lots of good things. But anyway, I had to go to the emergency room back in, I want to say the end of February, beginning of, or no, middle of January or February. I had I came home and I was feeling terrible. I had no idea what a gallstone was. I didn't even know. All I know is my back was hurting. Was getting worse and getting sicker and sicker. So the first thing that came out of the nurse was, well, why did you wait till 3 o'clock in the morning? First of all, I didn't know what it was, and I just don't call I called my sister. I had to call at 3 o'clock in the morning. She said, call an ambulance and go over to the hospital, which I did. I get there and the nurse says, well, why did you wait till 3 o'clock in the morning? I had no idea what the problem was because, sometimes I do a lot of sports, so I might have pulled a muscle. I didn't know I've heard of gallstones, but I've never had them. So it's like she was, and then simple thing I asked her for was a pillow. Told me we don't have any pillows. That's what she told me. So then we get to do a survey. They call you the next. They found out what the problem was and gave me some medicine or whatever they did. Sent me home. I was in bed. Julie knows I was in bed for the last 2 days or 3. I didn't. Anyway, it was funny. They called me with a survey. Now they do a survey through extension, which I'm glad. And I just told the guy, like, okay, I asked for a simple thing, was a pillow, and the bed was so uncomfortable. And
Cindy, if I remember correctly, was that the time where they gave you a prescription, but they put it on the paperwork and didn't tell you specifically?
Yeah, and they gave me a prescription, never told me. They just handed me this paperwork, walked me out to my sister. I had no idea what was on it. I was still feeling terrible. Got home in the middle of the morning. I went straight to bed. And had no idea what was.
Yeah.
In general, look at this thing. Oh, and you got a prescription you're supposed to get.
Yeah, I was gonna say they need to make sure that if they're putting something on a document that they also say it verbally.
Yeah.
Some people communicate better that way.
Oh, and one other thing that I think the emergency unit to be. So my sister is the power of attorney. She called. Thank God I had my cell phone. I called her and told her I was, I'm in this room, and that you should call the nurse and talk to her. Well, they didn't talk. They wouldn't refuse to talk to my sister on the phone to tell her what was going on. And so I also put that on the survey or to the guy that was talking to me. And then the emergency room person called the supervisor, and he said, Cynthia, I'm so sorry this happened to you. I was in tears because I thought all I asked was for a pillow so I could be more comfortable. I was already in pain, and whatever they gave me, I had to keep getting out of the bed to go to the bathroom like millions of times, and found out what that was about. She didn't explain me what kind of medicine she had gave me through that IV. And she didn't look to see if I have a lot of allergies. It's right on there. I don't know what she gave me, but later on, the supervisor of that told me what it was giving, just so you know. So I want to know what was your, oh, I forgot, Tim, what is your opinion on the emergency rooms? I guess I should have, sorry, I didn't say that first. After listening to you, and I said, maybe I better tell them about the emergency room because they need a lot of help. I remember way back when people first started, we had a person go to the emergency room and she pointed to her stomach, and they said that she had her woman curse, but it was a bleeding ulcer. Came home, and this is a true story, and we lost our people first member because she couldn't communicate what she pointed to the stomach. So that's all I have to say, and I know I'm trying to just get this all together. I want to just know your opinion on that. Thank you.
Well, pretty much, little bit of a story ran for myself about emergency rooms. I dislocated my knee and everything a couple years ago, and basically went in on ambulance and everything, ended up in the emergency room. Nurse came in, said, hey, do you want some pain medication really quick? Sure, I'll take some. Thank you very much. 2, maybe 3 minutes later, doctor comes in, pops my knee right back in, no
Ooh.
medication
Ooh.
at all in my system at this time. And then nurse came in about 5 minutes later, gave me a half dose of the half dose they were already going to give me. So I personally don't have any good residence with the emergency room at all.
Oh my God. Is it a-
Miscommunication
Guys, it's
and everything with that.
about 10
Yes.
after
Yeah.
12.
Oh yeah.
Wrapping up.
Thank you very much. I mean,
No problem.
I just wanted to know your opinion on them since.
My opinion is communication is very much key. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your
Oh,
time.
thank you so
Yeah.
much for